Hi everyone, my name's Daryl. So I recently sanitized my A-liner water system, but when it came to the hot water tank, I was just a little bit confused. I've seen also some Facebook posts on the A-liner group about the hot water tank and how to fill it, so I think this video will be a timely one. So basically, whenever you hook up your A-liner camper to any sort of water source, whether it be the city water connection or whether you fill the fresh water tank with water, it's going to automatically, if you have a hot water tank, it's automatically going to fill up your hot water tank either through the pump. When you turn the pump on, it's automatically going to fill it, or whenever you connect it to the city water connection, it's going to pressurize the system and automatically fill up that tank. So I think that's a good thing. Mostly because maybe it's the A-liner folks, and I think that's also similar to most of the other pop-up campers out there. They really don't want you burning up your hot water tank. So they want that hot water tank filled with water prior to you turning on the hot water tank. This is unless you have a diverter valve in front of your hot water tank and it's closed. I've got a 2022 A-liner Classic, and you can see the diverter valve right in front of my water tank. I know some older A-liners didn't come with them, and you would have to add them after the fact. But the question then comes, how do you drain the hot water tank? So I looked at the A-liner manual, and it said to get underneath the camper, open up the drain valve from the hot water tank area, and let gravity do its work. So let me show you this. Okay, so when I opened up the drain valve for my hot water tank, and that's basically, it's kind of further underneath the camper. I'm going to go ahead and open this up. Okay, and I'll get some water out. But if you noticed, it just kind of stops. And I really didn't notice, I kind of had thought I had actually emptied my hot water tank because I opened it up, but it stopped draining. And so unless I go up to my hot water tank and I continually push on this valve here, actually I have to pull it up. So you can see that's the pressure relief valve. And it'll start running again, and it'll keep running until I release the valve. And once I've released the valve, it'll keep running for maybe about 10 seconds or so, and then it stops. So basically, you're just kind of left holding this valve for however long it takes to drain. Now, I don't actually know how long it would take. I think I probably have done this for probably about maybe 7 or 8 minutes or so, maybe 9 minutes. And I've got a 5-gallon bucket, and I think it's maybe a quarter of the way filled up. So I think it would probably take somewhere in the range of about 20 minutes or so in order to drain the hot water tank this way. So when you're breaking up camp, I don't think that's necessarily ideal. Maybe there's a special way that you can kind of rig something up to hold that open, or have a child hold it open or something. I don't know, maybe you can get a clamp or something to hold that open, but that's annoying. I'm going to drain it all the way using that method, and then what I'm going to do is open up the anode rod just to see how much is left. Okay. All right, so I did finish emptying the water tank with the pressure release valve here, and it took about 7 more minutes or so. I think I got about maybe 3 more gallons of water out of it or so. It's probably going to take about 15 minutes to empty using this method, and so if it did pretty much empty the tank, I think it's worthwhile just right at the end of the camping trip, or maybe the night before, just kind of go out there and start to work on that. But I don't really know if the tank is totally empty, and I did have quite a bit of water in there previously. So just to make sure, I'm going to go ahead and remove the anode rod. Hey guys, so this is actually an update on this video. After I released it, one of my A-liner buddies, Brian Havender, who moderates another A-liner group, he gave me this great tip. So the easy way of emptying the hot water tank, if you don't want to use the anode rod and you don't want to constantly blow on that pressure relief valve, is just to make sure all the faucets are closed and then just run the water pump. So the water pump will pressurize the system and then it will drain out of that valve where we want the water to drain from. And so yeah, that's what I'm going to be doing at the end of every camping trip. It'll make things a lot easier. A-liner does recommend that you drain your water tank when you're not using it. So let's continue with the video and we'll be removing the anode rod and cleaning the water tank. I did purchase a brand new anode rod just in case it needs to be replaced. So I got this off Amazon. It's the Subrban anode rod. This should be just the OEM kind of replacement. One of the things I do like about the Subrban one is it does come with the tape already on it. So you don't have to worry about adding tape because they've got it pre-on there. So that's kind of nice. I was trying to remove the anode rod just with the wrench and I couldn't get it. There is some rust on it, so hopefully I can get it off. I got this little tool once again on Amazon. So this just goes over the top of the anode rod, the bolt thing, and hopefully I can remove it. So here we go. We'll see how this goes. So I think it's on there. And so basically you're supposed to just be able to use a kind of a screwdriver in there to get some torque on it and then to release it. So I think it's on there good enough. And I'm going to go ahead and get that in there and start to turn it. There we go. Took a little bit of force, but not too bad. So I'm going to go ahead and get my water bucket ready, just in case we have a whole bunch of water left in there, but we'll find out here real quick. Oh God, that is really disgusting. So yeah, there's a bunch. So the anode rod, I'm not sure if it needs replacing. It probably does, but there's just a bunch of stuff on the bottom of the tank, so you can kind of see that. And so this is what happens if you don't empty your tank. So I'm actually going to need to clean that out. So I'm going to replace the anode rod, which I think needs to be replaced, and I'm also going to just rinse the water tank out. I'll show you in just a second. I got this from John over Going Nowhere Fast. He's got like a little thing that you can spray inside the water tanks. So I'm going to go ahead and do that right now. It took a while, but I finally got the water tank cleaned out. It took a lot of water, a lot of squirting. I got really wet, but it's done. And now it's relatively fresh and basically it's ready for a new anode rod. Let me go ahead and get this installed and I'll be back in a second. Now when you're putting this in, you don't want to tighten it too much. You want to hand tighten it probably, and then maybe use your tool and maybe an extra little bit, but you certainly don't want to kind of machine tighten it. Okay, so that anode rod's installed. I've got a fresh water tank, I've got a fresh anode rod, and I'm ready for my next camping trip. So the A-liner manual does say that whenever you're not using the water tank, the hot water tank, that you need to drain it. It didn't take that long using the pressure release valve, so I'll probably do that at the end of every camping trip. It'll probably take about 15 minutes or so, not too bad. So that's it. If you got some value from this video, if you learned something, please like it. Also, consider subscribing to my channel because I've got a lot of A-liner content coming up, and I really hope to see you in the next one again very soon.
I've seen a lot of change, been through a lot of pain. Some things are not the same as they were a year ago, but all will be okay. I move on each and every day. The past is where it stays, way back a year